War is a necessary evil that protects our freedoms, right? Well, here's the backstory you're not being told. Major General Smedley Butler, who at the time of his death was the most decorated Marine in U.S. history, said that war is a racket and it always has been. It is the oldest, most profitable, and most vicious racket in history. It's the only racket in which profits are counted in dollars and the losses are counted in lives. General Butler went on to say that out of war, huge fortunes are made. But how is the cost of these fortunes paid? The price is paid with mangled bodies and shattered minds. It is paid with economic instability and backbreaking taxation for generations. But most of all, it's paid for with broken hearts, broken homes, and freshly dug graves. Officially, 21,000 millionaires and billionaires were made in the United States during World War I alone. But how many of them fired a single shot or dug a trench? How many of them experienced hunger in a rat-infested dugout? How many spent sleepless nights ducking shells and shrapnel and machine gun bullets? How many of them paid for their newly minted fortunes with their own lives? America's founders warned incessantly about the dangers of always having a standing army and in meddling in the affairs of other nations. James Madison said that a standing military force will not long be a safe companion to liberty, and that no nation can preserve its freedom in the midst of continual warfare. And yet, the United States has over 800 military bases scattered around the world, and spends more on its military than any other country. In fact, the U.S. spends more on its military than the next 8 countries combined. Like any racket, war needs people to participate in order to generate profits for the racketeers. In the last 10 years alone, more than $16 billion has been spent just in pro-military marketing and advertisements. Despite all of this being public knowledge, many Americans seem to have an insatiable thirst for war, and those who speak out against it are ridiculed and labeled unpatriotic cowards who hate America and refuse to support the troops. In 1967, Muhammad Ali was sentenced to 5 years in prison for his refusal to be drafted into the armed forces. He said, "My conscience won't let me go shoot my brother, or some poor hungry people in the mud for big powerful America. And shoot them for what? They never lynched me. They didn't put no dogs on me. They didn't rob me of my nationality, rape and kill my mother and father. Shoot them for what? How can I shoot them poor people? Just take me to jail." In one of America's current rackets, the war in Iraq, over $2 trillion has been spent, and conservative estimates put the non-combatant civilian body count at over 500,000. Many other estimates put it at over 1 million, most of those being women and children. And for what? Money. Fortunes have been made, and companies who provide weapons, planes, ships, and vehicles to the military are larger and more profitable than ever. Throughout history, hundreds of millions of people have been killed by poor men who have been conscripted to fight in the wars of rich men whose appetite for money and power can only be appeased through death and destruction. War rarely, if ever, solves problems, but it will continue to be rationalized and propagated so long as there is money to be made by those in power. And that's the backstory. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all your support. Make sure you subscribe so you can keep up with all of my videos, and also follow me on Facebook. All This with Aldous is the name of our page, and on Twitter at Aldous Talks. Thanks. Catch you later.